bollocks is like balls. Like you'd be like, oh shit, kick me in the bollocks. Like that is a thing.
Like bollocks 1-to-1 ratio means balls. However, the intent and meaning is bullshit most of the time.
And we're live.
Yeah.
Hey!
Bollocks.
If you ever wonder what we talk about before I switch to this screen, it's this stuff. Welcome in, everyone.
Swearing.
In different language or in different cultures.
True.
I mean, really, it's a whole nother language. Let's not
Yeah, I
kid
mean,
ourselves.
they're incorrect. We're correct. So, I mean.
Oh my God. Please don't.
Would it be a different language or like surely we're a dialect? Like
Probably.
English and
Oh,
American
yeah,
would be
was
like
exaggerating.
dialects.
Yeah,
I was being funny.
that would be my assumption. Different dialects
With
of
your,
the same
with your
language.
couches and your sidewalks.
You don't
You-
call it a couch?
You don't call it a
We call it
sidewalk?
we call it a sofa and a pavement.
Okay,
Oh.
I-
Both of those are synonyms for us. Like, we use both.
Well, I would never say the pavement in place of sidewalk, but I would say sofa or couch.
But it's made out of pavement.
Well, yeah, but that's why I wouldn't refer to the pavement because the road is made out of pavement.
Right.
Have I
No,
can't
that's
remember if it's with
asphalt.
you guys that we did this
Depends on where
before
you are.
with pavement because someone was like, yeah, like it's pavement, like a basketball court is pavement, and I was like,
No, I wouldn't say. No, the basketball court is made out of wood.
no,
If
not
you're
the indoor one,
inside,
outdoor.
You know, there are things called
Oh.
outdoor basketball
I'm
courts.
sorry. I'm only good for my professional regulation.
It's made of wood. As if you thought
No, I
I'd
would
mixed up
say-
wood and pavement.
I would. Well,
They're
the
very
ones that I grew up
similar. They both grow from trees. You go
The English are doing it again.
You go and pickaxe those pavement trees down. You gotta grind them up.
I'm so sorry. No, but honestly, I don't think ours were really pavement. They were definitely asphalt. Like, they were definitely the blacktop. Like, yeah.
I had this conversation with an American, and I was like, "Well, pavement is like what we walk on."
That
but
American was stupid. No,
It's made of like stuff, and they were like, "We just call that material pavement."
Yeah.
Right. So that is true. Like the sidewalk is made out of pavement or concrete. You know, like those are synonyms.
Is it concrete? I don't think pavement's made of concrete, is it? It's like a different thing.
Well, ours is.
I mean, it can
Right.
also
I don't
depend
know.
on where you are because they use different materials for roads in like upstate New York versus like Florida because snow, melt,
I'm
ice,
pretty sure
freeze.
it's universal, Wolves. The whole country, what is it, like 3,000 miles plus?
Huh.
Or I don't know, your kilometers, whatever the. Whatever.
Wait.
Oh no, you do use miles.
3,000
use
miles or
miles.
like what? Like 7 kilometers? I don't understand your system.
I don't know. I didn't
We
learn
kind
that
of-
at school.
So we drive in miles, but we measure almost everything else in meters and kilometers.
Yeah, so that's what's confusing to me. So like on your GPS, does it say miles or does it say kilometers?
I mean, you can just change it. Like
Well, so
mine.
can I, but what do you use?
Oh, I will use miles if I'm driving somewhere.
Okay,
We're like, oh, in so many miles.
that's so interesting to me that you guys kind of have like this combination of both.
Yeah, I think there is a reason for it, which I read once, but I don't know what it is, so I can't go into it too much.
That's fine.
But yeah, I think
I
we
can't
we
believe
seem
that.
to be
I would've
moving.
figured if you had one system, you would use that for everything, especially when I think the metric system is better. Like it just makes more sense. And that
I
you would be
think
like, no, but we're still
we-
going to use miles.
I think we started kind of moving to it, but then like road signs, changing every road sign. So they were like, "Fuck it, you drive in miles, it's fine."
All right,
And I
we're
always
gonna
forget that it's like even a thing.
It looks like Wolves has the answer.
because we're gonna play a super fun game right now
Oh,
called
no.
Can you guys guess the measurements of units?
Oh, probably not.
So we're gonna use the imperial system because it makes so much sense. So we're gonna ignore what comes before inch because
Yes.
it's thou and barrel corn or something like that, barley corn. I don't know. Anyway, how
I
many
didn't learn
inches
that
to a
either.
foot?
12.
Yeah.
Okay. How many feet to a yard?
Is it 7?
Close. It's 3.
Okay.
Is it?
The next
Yeah.
question is in 2 parts. 1, what comes after yard? And 2, how many yards are in that?
Oh no. Is it
Uh,
not mile?
It is not. There's
Oh,
2
Yard.
things between yards
Yard.
and miles.
Yard foot.
No, isn't it a meter?
Nope. Meter is their system.
Yeah,
No, I know, but I
meter-
thought we had our own meter. Because isn't it 3 yards to a blink?
No.
It's gonna be
Oh,
like
oh.
Meter
gonna be
and
like
yards are
ridiculous.
comparable in length. Like a yard is something is like 36 inches, and a meter's more closer to like 30. Like they're close in units,
Oh,
but they're different.
I see.
So after yard comes chain,
I didn't learn
Pain?
that.
a chain, like a metal
That
chain.
came up after I was out of school.
And how many yards do you think are in a chain?
6.
No, I'll say. Well, if the next one's miles, it's literally like 3,000.
The next one is not
so I'm
miles.
gonna
There's
say
another one
half.
between chain and
Are you
miles.
kidding me? I don't like this game anymore. I'm gonna say like I don't know, around 1,000. I'll say that.
22 yards in a chain.
Oh my god.
Okay, who wants to guess what comes after chain?
How many yards are in a mile? I'm trying to think numerical.
It's like 3,000 something. right?
1,760 yards.
Oh.
And there's 22 in a chain. Now I'm trying to divide something by 22 in my head. That's not going to
Right?
go well.
But honestly, you have 12 inches to a foot and then 3 to a yard, so really it's like.
And then
we
22
just pick
yards to a
numbers we
chain.
Like.
So it's 10 chains to a furlong.
Oh, I knew furlongs. I did know
I
furlongs.
do recognize that.
And
term.
then
I don't
8
think I would get it, though.
furlongs to a mile.
How many
So
furlongs?
8. And then
so
3
we
miles
still
to a league.
use- We
So
still use
stupid.
furlongs for, I think, horse races. I think that's the only thing I've heard of furlongs
Nope.
in.
Ah.
Is I think horse races are measured in furlongs.
So 12 to a foot, 3 to a yard, 22 yards to a
Chain.
and
Mhm.
10
then
chains
10
to a
chains
furlong.
to a furlong, and then what was
8
it?
furlongs
3?
to a mile.
Oh, 8 furlongs to a mile.
Yep.
And then you said 3 miles to a league.
Correct.
See how stupid this is? I hate having to memorize just arbitrary numbers.
And
So
then
you guys
maritime
use that for, like,
maritime uses
everything, right?
completely different units. They have fathom, cable, a nautical mile,
I've heard nautical mile.
which is
I
10
think
cables.
that's so funny because it's like, is that only on ships?
Yeah.
If you measure a nautical mile on land, does it just not work?
Yeah.
So,
You have to compromise for the waves. You know, it's hard to measure.
but there you go. There's our completely flawless, sensible system.
I mean,
And you
I
guys
like
just
the
divide
metric
everything by
system.
10. Weird.
Yeah. Why you gotta make it easy?
But yeah, we have a so we're kind of moving into the metric system, which is great because it's like 1 calorie will heat 1 centimeter cubed of water by 1 degree Celsius, which is like I think it's like 1,000th of a liter, which is no 1,000th of something. No, it is 1,000th of a liter, and the 1 degree Celsius is 1% from freezing to boiling. Like, it's
See,
all one thing.
I always
Gotcha.
wanted to combine systems and just be like, how many milli-inches in a decameter? Like, I want to, like, a decamile. Like, I just want to completely combine them and just pure nonsense.
Yeah.
I feel
just-
like I
mean,
lost
'cause
both of you there. You both just like,
well, the prefixes are like for everything, right?
Yeah.
Because you can use them for like whatever units. So like
Mhm.
you just have like a meter, and then a decimeter is there's 10 of them in a meter, and a
Mhm.
centimeter is 100, and a kilometer is 1,000 of the meters.
yeah, we don't do that. We just change
So
the
there's-
word entirely.
Well, there's no
we don't do
reason to do it
prefixes.
with like. So if you had like a inch, it would be 1/10 of an inch, which makes no sense because inches are in sixteenths, something like that. I think there's inches are broken into
eight.
sixteenths.
Well, you could do 16ths. Technically, you can divide it by 100 too.
I mean,
I
it's
mean,
basically done.
You can do what you want.
It's basically just
Right.
done by a power of 2, so you can do a ½ inch, quarter inch, eighth, 16th, 30 seconds. Like it's
Yeah.
so it's
Just-
all
So if
broken
you, like,
down.
You see it on a ruler. The big, the big dashes are like halves, and then there's like a quarter dashes, and then there's little dashes, and that's the 16th that you're talking about.
I mean, our rulers have both.
And if you don't know how to go to like the lowest common denominator, sometimes you're looking at something like 7/30 seconds, and then like 9, or then you have like 3/8. You're like, okay, so that would be 6. No, that would be 8. You see me like, what is what's big?
It's the worst.
Yeah, it's a perfect system.
Let's not talk about math anymore. Let's talk about something I'm knowledgeable about.
I mean, we could do our proper intro. We haven't yet to do that part.
Oh yeah.
Hi everyone,
Hi.
I'm Grey Wolves. Welcome in. These two can introduce themselves.
I'm
You want to
Platinum.
go first, Plat?
Yep. I
I
will.
wanted to see who talked
Hi.
first. Platinum.
I'm blindside. I say things at the
But
same
do
time
you
as
know
Plat generally.
things?
Perfect time. Well done.
Ugh.
That was
Well
good.
I have approximate knowledge of many things.
Mm.
All right.
Oh,
So
also, I found the tag gaming news for the.
I didn't
That's-
see that tag. I can
that's a
update
different-
tags while we're streaming, right? It won't like
Yeah,
break
you
There
can
it.
it-
do
yeah.
news and
Yeah,
gaming
yeah,
news if you
yeah,
want. And
yeah,
then
yeah.
I think there's also one called Pulp. Oh, I guess it's gone. But there was.
Is there a
Pulp
thing that's like a
Culture.
list of
Oh
Twitch
yeah,
tags?
pop
Because
culture.
News.
That's a little bit different from pulp culture.
Let's
though,
do
so maybe
K-pop.
You don't want to do that one. don't mistag it.
Hold on. Updated. Done.
no, there's
Fixed.
And
There's a
I always
stream
did
category.
radio as well.
You always what?
I always
There's a
did
stream
radio.
category called 4X, and it's for games that have an emphasis on exploring, expanding, exploiting, and exterminating. And I don't know what any of that means.
Yeah. What game?
Well, exterminating is when you kill everything.
Oh.
Exploring is
No,
when
I
you
understand,
wander
but, like,
around and
what
view
game
everything.
Is that?
So in the tag, it's all like Civ games. So it's like
Oh, okay.
Disciples, Gladius, Stellaris, like all that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, I suppose that makes sense.
I find all the tags on Twitch very interesting.
I mean, there's so many. I just scrolled for ages and I'm down to C. There's one for every champion in League of Legends.
Yep, but those are automatic. Like when you're playing, it'll automatically update it. I'm pretty sure. I know they did that for
Fuck off.
Overwatch.
Does it?
Mhm.
That's
Well,
super
time to
good.
time to start playing League of Legends. We gotta find.
Like if you're playing on I think if you're playing on your computer, like obviously if you're playing on your console, it may not update, but
I assume you'd have to have the client linked to Twitch, because you can link your clients. Like you
Yeah.
can link Steam, you can link.
yeah,
But
I
I
don't
mean,
know
you
how it
probably do
knows.
that-
I don't know
'cause
if
with
it
the
goes through a client
Prime-
or
Well, with the Prime loot stuff, you like you link it, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
you get like
Oh,
Prime
true.
treasures or whatever.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
I
as
know,
long
like
as
if you because if you browse Overwatch, you can like browse a particular character to watch to watch that character.
there's like specific Final Fantasy 14 tags. This is the thing. Oh, okay. There's only 4.
We're
But
learning
still.
about Twitch. We've been on it for years, but we're still learning. I
Been an
promise.
affiliate. Been an affiliate for like
Wait,
2 years. I fucking
I've been
no
calling
idea
it
how any
twice
of this
all
works.
this time. Is that not correct? We're not Twitch
Twice.
streamers.
Twice.
Son of a. All of those audio
That's
clips
We're
are
own-
wasted.
Yeah.
It's
It's so
owned
interesting
by
to put on there.
who?
Like, there's literally a game tag
Amazing.
called good characters, and it's literally just for games when you are playing morally good characters. Like people are searching that enough that needs to
Yeah.
be an option.
Yeah, like whenever
Imagine.
whenever I go through the tags, I feel like there's so many options, but then I feel like there's never the one I want.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I feel like because the only right tags are all about discoverability, right? So that people can search through
Right.
tags. I don't know anyone that searches by tag.
Nope.
Admittedly, most people I know are like streamers, which kind of streamers
Yeah.
and viewers do use the website differently. But also, like, there's so many things in there that it's like, how often are they using that? There's like
Yeah.
history for streams with an emphasis on study or discussion of past events. Are there people doing history lectures on Twitch?
Oh, I bet.
Like illustration makes sense, but like improv, surely every streamer's like a little bit improv.
No, my
Hey,
streams
'cause-
are 100% scripted. That's why I don't stream that often. It takes a lot of time.
You have to write it.
Yeah, it's just
What happens when like there's live, chatters? You're just
never
like
knew
you're
about that.
messing with the script. I can't go off of it. I'm sorry, I can't say hi.
I have a lot of default responses ready. So like when
Oh,
they give
okay.
one, I gotta quickly go to
You
the
just-
page that matches. So.
I cross-reference it.
Just like, how are you today, wolves? Fuck. Good.
Username is pastel, so that's that row. See, like, yeah, it starts with an A, so we're
Oh
over
my God.
here.
If your name is over 13 characters, probably a bot. So do not respond.
It just turns page 84. You're like, don't
Don't
answer
respond.
it. Cool.
Whew. Nearly avoided that problem. We're good to go.
Oh my gosh, that's so
Has
silly.
swallow in the middle of name. Do not read username. Cool. Yeah. No.
I don't even say talking about that problem. I don't even like say usernames anymore.
I turned them off for my alerts, but I still to this day remember the first time I fell for
Right.
like a trolley username, because I remember
Yeah.
just thinking like, you've made it,
You
Elliot,
did
you've
it.
done it. You're a streamer. You've done. I
I-
fucking
oh
read
my
it on
God.
stream and I didn't clock it until chat were like, "Are you fucking serious?"
Oh, I know. I
you-
did that recently. Oh my gosh, it's so embarrassing. Especially when someone's like, "Oh, that's a good one." And then you have to like poker face like go back in time and realize what you did, and then you're just like, "Yeah, I knew all along. I said it for you guys." Like, I knew what it said.
It's like
I
the
said
old
it with
Sofa King
confidence.
sentence.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I
But like
like.
now
I
I
think
don't even
now
read names. I'll like
I
nicknames.
only
I'll
read
like
this.
pull a thing.
Yeah, just do the first little bit, like, "Ice, thanks for the follow," and they're like, "You do realize what that says, right?"
Oh yeah, and they're like, "Say my full name," and I'm like,
Oh.
"Say my full name, bitch."
Same man,
What do you mean?
same man. And then they do, and then you have to close the stream. Fuck, how'd they know?
Oh man.
Instant timeout.
Oh my goodness. Oh, but sorry, Wolves. Like
No,
keep
go.
diverting.
I don't.
Speaking of your discoverability, it's true that like Twitch has the worst discoverability because people don't go on Twitch to browse for the most part. Of course, there's exceptions to the rules. Every once in a while, I'll browse. However, it's not very good at browsing, and it's not meant to be browsed. Like people discover other people mostly through raids or like maybe clips on YouTube or something. And like
Yeah, I
that's
feel.
what people have talked about is that for like I saw it on like this one streamer's thing. He was like when people go on Twitch, they go to who they follow. If they don't see anyone they want to like watch at that point, they go to YouTube and they like discover something there. And I was like, "Shit, you just described my everyday." Like,
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like my taskbar, my Twitch link taskbar goes to my follow section.
yeah.
It doesn't
Same.
go to Twitch. It doesn't go. It goes straight to who's streaming now that I follow.
Yeah.
And like occasionally I'll scroll down and look at who they're like some people I follow are hosting,
Yeah.
but like rarely.
I didn't even know that was a section on Twitch. Like I do not look over there.
Yeah, you just scroll down.
It's just like below your follows. But I
Oh,
mean, it
that's
depends because
below the
I follow
fold.
so many people. So yeah, so when you get to the bottom of people that are live that you're following, underneath that
Mhm.
is like people you follow are hosting.
And then underneath,
and then I
underneath
think
that is then like
Oh, yeah, yeah,
recommended
yeah.
based on games and stuff you
Yeah.
frequently watch.
Oh yeah, and that's always wrong. Like I think their algorithm is really bad. Well, because how do you figure out why I'm watching particular streamers? Most of the streamers I'm
Wow.
watching is not for the game. And yet all the algorithm is giving me streamers for a specific game. And I'm like, I don't care about this game.
Yeah, sometimes this game I've seen it like similar followers. It's games I've never watched, and I think it might sometimes do tags. So if certain streamers use the same tags all the time, it might occasionally use that. But like,
Okay.
I don't know. That's more of a
Because
guess
like
than
I always follow for personality.
Yeah.
Like I love like Elliot's stream, for instance. He plays like our JRPGs. I think besides Kingdom Hearts, like I don't play JRPGs or Dark Souls. I've never played a Dark Souls game, and yet I really like Elliot's stream. And so, how do you in the algorithm like recommend streamers like Elliot if you know what I mean? Like they don't know what I like about Elliot's stream.
Anything tagged with like British idiot, and then it's like send it her way.
If you could just keep adding that tag, then we'll be fine. Because then I can get that tag on somebody else's.
Well, you need British bearded idiot. I think the beard.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I mean,
Like
I think
that's half of his
'cause-
personality.
That's how I found Terry, actually.
Yeah.
Terrico.
That's like half the personality. Is just the.
Because I think, like with Twitch, where you said about like browsing, like it used to be very browsable, but like now the ads are so like intrusive. They're always way louder than any stream you ever watch.
Yeah.
They're getting longer every day. So like to go and watch someone that you don't know you're gonna like the content, or if you're not subbed, and then obviously you're ad free.
Yeah.
Like to say like, oh, I fancy watching, like even if you know what category you want to watch. So say you want,
Yeah.
oh, I'm gonna go watch Dead by Daylight. No one I follow is streaming. I'm gonna go watch some Dead by Daylight, and like to click into someone and then watch a 12-second ad, and then like literally it starts off and their mic's like cutting out, or like or their chat are just like super like toxic,
Yeah.
or whatever it could be.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, go find someone else, watch another ad. And like to do that over and over again, like iteratively until you find someone you like
Mm-hmm.
is just, there's no point. There's no point browsing anymore.
Isn't that technically how YouTube runs though? There's an ad in front of every video.
YouTube's like kind of a different gig though. Like a lot of the time you can kind of tell what you're going to get.
That's true.
'Cause
Well,
but
I
also,
would
like,
say
you-
that their
you-
algorithm's better.
Yeah, YouTube's like search engine optimization is like incredible.
Yeah.
Like you can just have a rough idea of like, here's what I want to do. Or like a lot of the time, if I go to my front page and scroll a little bit, there's always gonna be something that I'm like, yeah, fine. Also, a lot of the ads are skippable after 3 seconds. Twitch's aren't.
True.
I always find it. I'm always amused when companies aren't just doing 5-second ads. Like I know there's a lot you want to say, but I feel like you really need to work on those 5-second ads because if it's a 5-second ad and my thing's gonna start in 5 seconds, I'll probably pay attention to your ad because whatever. But if it's a 30-second ad, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm staring at my skip button, waiting. You get
Yeah.
0 of my attention if you are longer than 5 seconds because all I care
Yeah.
about is that button.
Like I always say,
Yeah.
like unskippable ads like wind me up. But if the button's there and it's like you can skip in 4, all I'm doing is like just like
You're like
3,
Yeah.
4,
2,
3,
like,
2. Yeah.
Have you guys ever had like a
Sorry.
2-hour ad?
Absolutely. There was the YouTube video that was like basically an ad for lawns or something.
I
Did you
was,
see that? It was like a 2-hour video of a guy and he like mows his lawn and then he gets like a lawn chair out and he sits in it. It was just this really long YouTube video and people like watching it to be like, what's going on? And it turned out it was like an ad for something.
You know, YouTube once tried to roll like a 2-hour ad on me, and I was like, skip? It was like a
How-
massive
like,
infomercial.
What?
No idea.
Well, yeah. At that point, that's a fucking documentary. That's not an ad. That's like join this Church of Scientology. Here's the
Yeah.
reasons. Like that's not go buy our product.
Oh my god. I don't
Yeah,
know what
I
I
was-
would. Honestly, I've never looked at the time code. I'm just like 4, 3. Well, and now I pay for premium, so I don't get any of that shit.
Oh, look who's high rolling over here. Yeah.
Mate,
Well, you know what did it is because
Money.
I have ad blocker on my. I have ad
I-
blocker on my computer, so I really didn't get ads. And then, but I've been watching it a lot more like on my TV or on my phone or something like that. Like I would watch it in other places
Mhm.
that I can't put an ad blocker on. And I was like, well, fuck this. I don't like this at all. And so I was like, you know what? I think I'm just going to do it because, yeah, I was like, and there was like other things that I was interested in. They have a really good gymnastics documentary as their like YouTube originals and stuff like that. So I was like, and I use it literally every day for hours. They kind of deserve my money. Like, I don't know.
They
I'm
got
just
plenty
like,
of money.
I know they do, but I'm in the company of paying for like, especially like as an artist, like I feel the need to pay things that I use consistently, and they do a good job of it. Like every time I go to recommended, there's a video that I'm actually interested in.
Yeah. I don't know. It always depended on the scale for me. So like a period of time when like iTunes was like, I know for some people iTunes is still a big thing, but like this period of time where like everyone used iTunes because everyone had
Yeah.
iPods, everyone had like Nanos and
Yeah.
all these things like that. And like I didn't listen to music. I still barely do. Like now I listen to audio
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and I have an Audible subscription. Like I pay for it.
Yeah.
But like I had, according to iTunes at one point, almost 10 days straight of stand-up comedy. Like if you just hit play, it would take 10 days to reach the end, and it was all paid for. Because like a lot of comedians don't make a lot of money unless they have good touring, unless they do all this stuff like. So I purchased those kind of things, and like there's
Mhm.
certain situations I'm like, no, I like this is the thing you do, I support it, stuff like that, and like, but like I have ad block because like sorry, I'm just block.
Oh yeah, no. And oh my god, when a website has their little pop-up and they're like, "We see that you're using ad block, so you need to have it ignored or else you can't see this page." I go, "Bitch, I'm going back to Google and I'm getting
Yeah.
an answer somewhere else."
Google has 1.4 billion results that it found in 3 seconds. You think I'm staying here with my ad block off?
Do you,
Get away from
Outta
me.
here, bro.
Hulu does that. So I have my ad block will stop the Hulu ads. So it pops up and there's a little count in the top corner. It's like 1 minute 30. Pauses for a second. 1:15. Pauses for a second. 45. Pauses. 15. Pauses. Show starts. And occasionally,
Mhm.
occasionally Hulu's like, "Hey, we see you. You might be blocking some ads. We'd appreciate if you stopped." And if you just wait like 10 seconds, that goes away. Like, all right, problem solved.
That's
I mean,
great.
I remember because I've had like a few conversations with YouTubers where it's like, oh, if you use an ad blocker, like it actually like hurts YouTubers because obviously they get ad revenue and Google can track if you watch their video with an ad blocker on, like they can like tell that it's got an
Mhm.
ad blocker on.
Yeah.
And they were like, but surely like you stream on Twitch, and I was like, I make like 3p a week
Oh
on
yeah.
ads. I was
Yeah.
like, fucking use the ad blocker, absolutely block ads on Twitch.
Yeah. It's
Like
not
they
worth it.
pass on so little of the money that they get for them. I was like, just do it. I was like,
Mhm.
I don't care.
Yeah. You need so many, like, I'm sure, like, partners, they're getting a whole lot more because it's by views.
Yeah, I feel like there's this narrow middle ground. I think you have this big gap in the middle where I don't care. It's not enough money to really make me care. Use ad block.
Mhm.
And then you have people who are way over here who have so many viewers that the occasional one with ad block doesn't really hurt them. I feel like there's a small gap in the middle where it's like I really appreciate it because I'm not like making big bucks over here, and I
Right.
have enough of you that it can help me. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I made
I don't care.
71 cents on ads in the last
Like,
month.
I'm glad they
ooh,
gave the affiliates the ad revenue. I think they use that as an excuse to make the ads way more obtrusive than they used to be.
Mhm.
Because they're like, well, now we're giving money to affiliates. And I'm like, bro, we're getting like a couple bucks per
Oh,
month.
dude,
Like,
I
just
remember
get
when
out of
they
here.
gave, I remember when they gave affiliates sub buttons and everyone got mad.
yeah,
Really?
All the partners are like, "This is ridiculous."
yeah.
A
It
sub
I
button
encroached on their
know.
sucks."
territory.
I mean, to be
To
fair,
be fair,
um, the line between affiliates and partners is very small now. Like I'm amazed the stuff that they've done for affiliates over partners. Like
yeah,
giving the five, well, I know you have to unlock it with subs, but allowing that affiliates to have 5 emotes per for the first tier.
mhm.
I was like, "Whoa." I never thought that was going to happen.
I mean, I'm not surprised at all because every time they give affiliates more things, they make more money.
I mean, it makes sense,
If
but
the
I
first
just
step
thought
into
they
your
would
house
like,
is a 30-foot step, ain't nobody coming in. Like,
yeah. No, true.
I mean, I think a really big part of it is because like the requirements for partner is based on like Twitch like 6 years ago or
Oh,
something.
I know. It's so stupid.
Like they basically worked it out. They were like, okay, for every person that streams, there is roughly 75 people who only view. And that
Mhm.
ratio now is like 1 to 20 or something like that. Because like
yeah,
so many people stream now because the gate of entry in tech and stuff is like so much lower.
Yeah.
Like everything's plug and play. Like
yeah,
it's way
Right.
easier. Like all the programs are just like you got Slobs, which is just like start it up. It does most of it for you. Like it will work out your settings and stuff for you, everything.
mhm,
Or even like consoles. You can buy an Xbox and just go Twitch, link to my account, live, done. That's it. That's everything you need to do before you're at least live on the website.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so because of that like ratio change, there's a lot of people that are saying like there shouldn't be a CCV requirement for partner anymore. And I think that's why Twitch keep being like, well, we can't go around partnering like everyone that hits 20 average viewers. There's gonna be
Right.
way too many people because like once you're a partner, you can do things like you can negotiate your partnership contracts, you can negotiate your splits for subs, you can negotiate like how bits work on your channel, you can like do all this stuff behind the scenes,
Mhm.
which there has to be someone's got to write the contract, someone's got to negotiate the contract, you got to finalize it, like all of that costs money. So like if you just keep giving tidbits to affiliates just to keep tiding them over, then you can just keep your partner like at the moment just kind of very either you have to like really really nail everything very early or it's going to be like a very long slog, which most people will give up on it by then.
Yeah.
So it's like keeping that like gate, like just keeping that like wall there just for that tick next to your name absolutely makes sense for them because you can make money for them as an affiliate and you can make more money for them the more affiliate stuff there is. But at the point where you're partnering too many people, it's going to cost you money. And we already know like Twitch costs Amazon money, I'm pretty sure. I think they still trade in a loss on Twitch between like server space and all that because like anyone can just take up their bandwidth. So
Do they still trade in a loss?
I don't
was
know.
like, really?
The last time I
Even with Amazon and stuff.
uh, well, no, not on like Amazon as a whole, but like just on Twitch.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see.
But yeah, the last time I had this conversation with someone, they were like, "Yeah, they still don't make a profit with Twitch, but like, there's like other bits to it because like it helps with the esports like stuff, and
Mhm.
obviously they can get like sponsorships through it and all that
Well,
stuff."
it's similar
but yeah.
how like gaming companies lose money for every console they sell,
Mm-hmm.
but
yeah,
but all their profit is elsewhere. Like they need to
Mhm.
take a loss over here so they can make a profit over there.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I can't find it, but
Wasn't true
yeah,
then.
yeah, like, well,
Not on the
there's a
internet.
there's a
Phony.
billion things on it, but all of them is like, "Oh, do you want to sit down and read a whole load?" Like, nah, I'm okay.
Oh.
Reading's hard. There's so many letters and arrangement combinations. It's
Give me
just
all
a
the
hassle.
white space so that way I can read it easily for my millennial brain.
I mean, I can find like their revenue, but I can't find like their costs, which they're probably not reporting.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, the big thing for them is like because Twitch is a complete market leader. Like, there's no competition at the moment for live.
No.
YouTube apparently YouTube's pushing.
Yeah, I think so.
YouTube's working on the
YouTube's
live
up
stuff.
over there
and
now.
Their profit splits a lot better, so I can see a lot of people being like, yeah, okay. Like
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
affiliates that are close but like have been turned down for partner and stuff. Like, why not?
Mhm.
Why not move over to YouTube or even because you don't have an exclusive. Like, obviously, as an affiliate, you can't multi-stream to both, but you
But
can go and stream
there
on
the
YouTube.
off time. Yeah.
Yeah.
As a partner, I don't think you can. Depends on your contract, I think. But like the
Oh,
straight up
partners
partner
are-
contract.
Us.
Yeah, a straight up partner contract. If you haven't negotiated it, you're only allowed to go live on Twitch.
okay.
But yeah, messy. But yeah, apparently, so they paid 970 million for Twitch in 2014, which they've definitely made at least that back.
Yeah.
But obviously, cost of running, who knows?
Huh. Interesting.
They got servers all over the world. They have the bandwidth of however many people are live at any time.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy.
So,
So-
WandaVision, am I right?
Every time now.
Hold on.
No,
I
what
kept
were
it
you
from
gonna
last
say,
time.
Wolf?
Let me unhide this. There we
No,
go.
you're good. What were you gonna say?
Oh, no, I was
making jokes.
No, I'm fine with this transition. I called Agnes.
We
I told you.
we didn't even wait. Wait, hold on. We didn't even talk about the news of the week or whatever.
We can come back to
do,
that.
Like a rundown. Oh, okay.
That's fine.
Okay. I know. Oh my gosh. Yes. I mean, it's so funny. Like this. Like, oh wait, Elliot, you're up to date, right?
Yes.
Okay. So this whole Agatha thing is like it's like surprising and yet not surprising
Yeah.
because if you know the comics, it's like you knew, but then with the last episode, they really threw a curveball with Vision like unlocking her.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, maybe it's not her, but I mean, I did think it was still Agatha, but I wasn't sure how much her influence was
Yeah.
anymore at this point in time because I was like, well, maybe she started it with Wanda and like, you know, like started like, oh, like make a deal with me, I'll bring Vision back, but now she got sucked into it, you know, kind of thing. Like that's kind of what I was thinking. And then when they did the whole Agatha, I was like, oh my god, I was laughing. So I was beating Michael with a pillow because I was like, we knew it. Like I was so excited. Oh, and that little jam was so good.
Yeah, like the little bit through, I was just like, that is quite good.
Yeah.
So if I
Agatha
haven't read the
all
comics, I've only really seen like MCU movies and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Am I supposed to know who Agnes is because I don't remember her from anything?
No.
She-
so
Okay, that's
she's
fine then.
new.
Well, she's been
new to the
around.
MCU.
Well, yes, she's new to the MCU. She's been in the
Okay,
comics and stuff like that. She's actually who trained Scarlet Witch. Like, she's been around. She was one of the first witches they tried to kill in the Salem witch trials. Like, she's been around and done some shit. Like,
Yeah.
she's not
So,
not
but as
really
far
a
as the
hero,
MCU
but not
is
a villain.
concerned, You don't know who she is.
Yeah. So
Which is why, like, Marvel Comics were like, we know it's Agatha, but then it's been 7 episodes, and you're like, are they not gonna do it? Like, what's going on? You know, like,
yeah,
it was
well, because you didn't
such
know
a
in what
long
context
wait.
was going to be her. Like you said, you didn't know if
Right.
like if as they wore down, if she was going to come free and be like, what the heck, or if like.
Yeah.
But like I said, she lied when she first showed up. Like that was like my first thing. I was like, no, she
You
flat out.
know what's funny about that, actually? Because I was thinking about that when you were like, she says she's the neighbor to the left, but then in the Full House episodes, Family Ties episode, she was down the street, so she's lying.
And the one
However,
guy
in this
cutting through the hedge.
episode, but this episode, she was next door on the left.
She's not next door. She's in that direction because they still are walking past they're walking through the yard. They're not veering towards the house. They're cutting down further.
Or just using the pavement as what we call the sidewalk.
So
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. Because she, like,
And
the
I'll-
Family Ties episode, that house is down the way. You wouldn't just, like, look through the window
Yeah.
and, like, it looked like it was really close. Like, it looked like it was next door.
one thing I really do hope, the character stays around for a while because I love that actress.
Oh,
Like she's
same.
been in a
I think
lot of
she
things.
will.
And like I've always loved, like she was in like the last like couple seasons of like Parks and Rec. She was the lawyer,
Yep.
or not the lawyer, but the one helping him. Like she had like the raincoat on, dealing with the kids, and like
That's what I always said. I was like, Poncho! Like, that's what I kept saying.
like I've always loved
Just
her
like
as an
Parks and
actress. So I
Rec.
really hope her character stays around and does well. And even that one line, she's like, "I don't bite," and then she kind of looks at the camera. Then it goes, she's
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, I've bitten a kid." Like just
So speaking of that line, do you think she ate the kids?
no. That
No.
would be a drastic because her character isn't evil. Like her character isn't necessarily
Well,
heroic,
she
but her
could be evil in this though.
yeah, but that'd be such a drastic shift for that character.
She literally killed a dog. How much more drastic do you need?
Yeah.
I mean, she did murder a dog, which was like so weird when they went through that thing because they did the whole sequence and she went, and I murdered the dog, and I was just like,
Oh,
wait,
man,
what the
I
fucking
was-
what?
Yeah,
I
like
was laughing
that-
so hard.
that's the thing
Like,
that throws
oh
me
my
off
God.
about her. It's like, what is your motivation in all this? Because like
Right.
again, her character isn't good, but her character isn't evil either.
In the
Like,
comics.
Well, yeah, she works with the Fantastic Four. She stopped her evil son from like doing shit like. And
Yeah.
I mean, there are cultures where people eat dogs. Killing a dog doesn't necessarily make someone evil, because there are cultures where that's just food.
In this culture, aka the context,
She didn't
she's
eat it.
evil.
We don't know that.
Find a random dog.
Yeah, we
She,
do.
like,
She was literally the Wicked Witch of the West being like, and I'll get you and your little dog.
No, I meant we don't know she didn't eat it.
Oh, you think she ate it?
No, I don't.
you
but I'm
thought
just
she had the
defending
kids.
my
Your
argument.
opinion is useless at this
No, I
point.
was asking the question. I don't think she did, but I think the possibility is there.
So the thing, like, because they did like that whole sequence of like Agatha all along,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
realistically, it's not. They didn't like go, oh, she created the hex or had a part in creating the hex. Like, and also the hex is because all her magic was like that purple, smoky,
Right.
misty stuff.
Yeah, the hex
No,
happened and
it's
she
like
showed up.
Wanda.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so well, this is it. Like, was she like drawn to it, or did she? Because the
I
odds
think
of her
so.
just happening to be there when it all kicks off is severely unlikely, right?
Yeah, so I thought for sure that, like, because I feel like Wanda talked to someone before doing this accidentally or on purpose, and she doesn't remember, kind of thing. Like, and so I thought that would be, Agatha, but it seems like, especially, in the Agatha All Along, she literally like flies in with her other outfit, and she just comes a part of it, which would make sense for the first line when she says, "Sorry, I wasn't here from the beginning. My mother-in-law was here, so I wasn't."
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So it definitely, she came after and then just joined.
Well, she also has a line where it was the image you did on the tweet where she's like, "This is gonna be fun."
Yeah, this is gonna be a gas. She's so good. And so, yeah, no, she definitely came after and just took. But it's weird though, because like you said, what's her motivation then, other than like, let's just have fun? Because that's what it seems like she's doing, is just like, let's just have fun. I'm just gonna take over now. Like,
So I was about to say, like, her whole thing, like, it's all like little mischievous, like when they're doing the
Yeah.
magic show, like she's messing with it, and like so she does like these little mischievous things, and like she brings back Pietro and stuff like that. And then it was like, and I killed a dog. And it's like, wait, what? You
Yeah.
were like, mischief, 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 pet murder, mischief, mischief, mischief. Like, wait, somewhere in here, there needs to be a consistency to like your character's interaction with the
weird.
world.
Yeah, and I mean that could even
Although
be a.
if you think of it as like a metaphorical dog, like maybe the dog was never real. then
I
it
mean
is-
that's
Well,
the
I mean,
thing. Like we don't know
technically
that
the
it was
dog
an
isn't real,
actual
right?
dog, and she could have just like not necessarily killed, but like got rid, like just moved the dog and like pretend it was dead to like throw them off. Like I killed the dog. Like it's an
yeah.
because like again, we'd watch the TV show. We all know they didn't actually kill a dog, even though the plotline
Right.
dog was killed. So like
Right.
she could be telling you, I killed the dog in the TV sense. Doesn't necessarily mean
And
she
that
killed.
goes to my theory about like how the broadcast for us is being manipulated as well. Like Agatha is manipulating the broadcast that we see. For
Yeah.
instance, they even say like, "Oh, the broadcast is dead. No one can watch it," and yet we're watching it.
Yeah.
So it's like Agatha's doing that, but yeah, it's so bizarre. There's still obviously unanswered questions.
Like I wonder if her motivation is just to subtly screw with things enough to get her to realize more what she's doing. Because again, in the first couple episodes, she was engrossed in her own story, and like
Mhm.
when everything broke, she was like, "What?" And then she like snapped back into it. so-
You're talking about Wanda?
Yeah.
You're playing the pronoun game. Okay.
Sorry. So Wanda would like kind of like the radio. She'd be like, "What? Huh?" And then snap back into character.
Right.
Like, so I wonder if Agatha's motivation is to like just fuck with things just enough to like bring Wanda out of everything.
Out. Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. Like to me it feels like she's pushing Wanda's limits. Agatha
Mm.
is pushing Wanda's limits and seeing how far can she go. You know,
It could be
kinda
that too.
thing,
If she's
and-
looking for a student, she could be doing that too.
Yeah, like, and that's why when she's in the zone, she's like, well, that's not gonna work. I need you to break out so we can see what's what. You know,
Yeah.
how powerful are you? And because like when she's holding the dog and you know the kids are like, bring him back from the dead, and she's like, you can do that. Like I think that's a genuine question
Yeah.
of can you bring the dead back, you know? And she obviously sees that she brought Vision back. Now we know she was in full, you know, recognition. So it's like she knows she brought Vision back, and so I think her end game is to bring back someone from the dead, maybe her son.
But that's the thing. She didn't really bring Vision back because Sword was already
Right.
trying to revive Vision. So they're using an old version of Jarvis with his body. She just found the way to turn it on because they couldn't get it on. They couldn't get it working. So she just bridged that gap. Which because if she brought him back, in theory, he would have memories up until he died, but he doesn't. So she had no control over
Uh-huh.
that. She just has an old saved copy of him. She brought up the
Yeah.
backup drive, plugged it in, rebooted.
Backup drive. Yeah, the Mind Stone. Just a little everything you get from Radio Shack.
But does he actually have the Mind Stone? That could just be a visual representation.
Right, so that's what I'm saying is I think she's because she was experimented on from the Mind Stone.
Yeah.
She's able to apply that battery of the powers of the Mind Stone.
Possibly.
Yeah. Because I don't think you can create a Mind Stone, nor can you just pick one up off the street. And I don't know if anything else can really
Yeah.
power him.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I know there was one theory that the main dude from Sword, his motivation is he's actually Ultron, and he's trying to bring Vision's body back to life, stuff like that, to put Ultron back in it, so he can have that body.
Oh, I don't like that.
There's an old movie. There's one of the Marvel movies where Ultron took the form of a human person to like accomplish a thing, and people are like, this feels kind of like that part of that. Or
Yeah. I mean, they did say that he wants Vision as a weapon.
Yeah.
And was trying to get him online to be a weapon, which makes sense because he has this whole thing about supers and was like, we need to protect humankind from supers, and so
Yeah.
we're gonna use a super as a weapon. So that makes sense.
And now we have another super who just joined.
Yes.
So that scene amuses me because it's a conversation
Were
that had
you laughing?
yes. No. So it's the idea of Japan versus the USA in the sense that both countries do have a heavy focus on things radiation. USA has a heavy focus of radiation fixes problems. Enough radiation, you become a superhero. Enough radiation, your problem goes away. Everything is radiation solves your issue. That's how everyone gets their power. They're just hit with enough radiation, it fricks them, and then yay, heroes, problem solved. Japan is radiation causes bad things that will wreck your life. Because that's literally how we won the war. We nuked them. American culture has taught us radiation nukes solves your problem. Japan has taught them radiation nukes are bad. And like that represents in like Godzilla and everything like that is a representation of radiation gone wrong and doing bad things. And then we have superheroes, the idea that radiation makes things good and solves your problems.
Yeah, because that's Hulk, Fantastic Four,
Spider-Man.
I'm trying to think of some other ones. Well, that's right, because that's a radiated spider.
Yeah. Like she went through the radiation enough times and now she's a superhero. Like it's like this weird thing that like to be fair.
I don't think everyone who goes through the barrier is gonna be a superhero, nor has the ability. I think it's her specifically.
But also, she's gone through 3 times, and it took that much. Like just going through once might not do anything.
Yeah, like I don't think everyone within the hex is gonna all of a sudden, if they go through 2 more times, they would be superpowered. Like I just don't think that's right.
True. It also could be a matter of intention. When Wanda created it or expanded it, her goal was to get these people inside. She might be able to like essentially, as it goes over you, open a door and then like continue on. It might not have actually irradiated them. Where she is every time she has specifically gone through it. And Wanda was mad when she booted her out. She might not have opened the door.
Yeah.
She was just like, no.
Yeah. I think, but it rewrote their like clothes and stuff and their memories.
Well, yeah, but the memory is an ongoing thing that she just does, and the clothes she could have done, because otherwise she would have every generation gap of the show. She'd have to re-irradiate the entire people. Like by that logic, Hex would have to like close and come back out to change all their clothes and stuff like that. Like that just seems like a persistent thing she can kind of screw with once inside. But the act of passing through it is what does
maybe. I get you.
I just felt like the big Moonlander thing was like, from someone that studied engineering, the minute they rolled it out, all I wanted to do was pick out all the flaws in it, because it looked all like beautifully space age, but it was awfully designed.
Yeah.
So I was really disappointed by that whole scene.
Yeah,
like they got like a Mars rover,
and she's just like, "Give it more gas." It's like classic American. It's like, it's not working. Just pedal down, pedal down.
Yeah, it was so bizarre when like she was like, "I'm a gun it." I was like, I don't feel like this is wise.
Well, I was thinking, like, first off, you're in grass. Like, you're not going to get traction. If you have enough weight to get the traction, you're just going to dig yourself down in the grass.
Right.
Like, that's what happened. That's That's tires in grass, mud, stuff like that. Like, you don't just magically gain more traction. Like, the thing would need to have the torque and have enough weight put on it that it gets enough friction on the ground to push itself forward.
Yeah, plus the way they described it, like even, 2 episodes past when she's like, I need this and this and this to get me through. That, like, to me, that just told me to keep me safe from radiation.
Yeah.
That didn't tell me that it would actually go through the barrier. So when it was, like, struggling to go through the barrier, I was like, yeah. Like, you didn't solve that problem. You just solved that once you were in, it would protect you, and then it didn't even do that.
Yeah, that whole sequence felt like a weird, like, I know an astrophysicist, and like it's just some person. And in the comic world, that person might be important, but it's just some person. And it was a throwaway scene.
It did seem like it seemed like a lot of artificial buildup for nothing. Like it could be leading something, because people are saying that those guys are Skrulls and stuff like that, and so it might be leading until later. But right now, it's like, especially when this is week to week, it's not binging. You're just like, what?
Yeah.
Like,
if it had been in the show, like that much of like kind of like a bit like camp, like sciencey scene, like sure. But for it being the real people outside, like all the thing of like it was like dun 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 dun, dun and it's like rolling out of the thing, and they're like
Right.
doing all the pans across it, and then she's
Yeah.
like she goes in, she's like seals in, so it's airtight, but she's also got like an oxygen feed to her, which must be coming from tanks somewhere. Who
I don't
fucking knows
know.
how into this
Oh,
shit
well, there's
works?
tanks in the back.
And then she literally just like, yeah, they had all like the supply in the back, but it was like, oh, you got to stay in the truck and it's all sealed in and stuff. I was like, what the fuck are the supplies for then?
Yeah,
Like,
it was super bizarre.
and they were
Like
like,
it was
oh,
just to show how powerful the barrier was, really. Like that's
Well, yeah.
that was the but I felt like we already knew how powerful the barrier was when, Vision got destroyed. Like
And that
I
could have been
just-
something like having that as the cliffhangers. I think what built up too much tension for that scene. So
Yeah.
like they could have been like, I know an astrophysicist, and the end of the episode could have been like them rolling to a camp of a bunch of people. Like, okay, it's just a
Yeah.
camp of people. It doesn't really necessarily. You're like, oh, who's these people? But that'll offset some of the build up. And then it could have been like they arrive and like you could see like a bunch of crap at the edge of the barriers. Like we've been trying everything to get something in there, and like we can't. Like they could have just done
Mhm.
that line. We're like, okay, so like the barrier's thicker now. There's something more. Like that would have
Mhm.
been all we needed. And like
Yeah, agreed. And I think it was just I wouldn't say bad writing, but just like they needed to hold off Monica for like 2 episodes.
Yeah.
To get her to this point because they wanted it to happen right now. So they like were having these like kind of arbitrary, which makes sense because it does take time for people to travel.
Mhm.
But they were just like, okay, so I'll call this person, let me text, but also but it's how it's filmed because there was a close up on the text, where it's like
Yeah.
this person's important, kind of thing. And of course, Marvel people again watching this week to week, it'd be different if it was binging.
Yeah.
But if it's watching week to week, Marvel is like, where are the clues? Who is this? Why didn't they say it? Let me look at the Spanish pronouns. Okay, it's a female. All right, what does that mean? What are our options? Rolodex, like
Yeah.
this is really important, and they had to have known like what this was doing, and then to have the scene be at least right now. Again, maybe in the MCU later we'll be like, oh my god, it's all connected. But like right now, to have it built up to seemingly nothing, it's like, okay,
Yeah. Because
it's very underwhelming.
yeah, because the way you build tension, the way you deliver is very important. Like it would have been drastically different if like Pietro was showing up like the end of the episode, rang the doorbell, and then it cut to credits, and then he was just there the first scene at the end. Like like it wouldn't give you enough time to process. So you need it at the end, at the beginning, to give you that time. But like this didn't require that time to process.
Right.
They gave you
Right.
this thing. You're like, no, you could have just showed me the camp at the end of one episode. Give me an extra 30 seconds on the added episode. Her pull up, like, hey, so and so, I need your help. Like, okay.
Yeah.
And then there would have been no suspense. Like, oh, she's met up with these people. Something's going to come of that. But it's not, who are these people? And then the answer is
Yeah.
no one.
No, yeah, because we have like, because I watch reactions of people who are like fully in the comics and stuff like that, and like major Marvel nerds, and they're like, "Good nerd, I got nothing." Like,
Yeah.
they're like, "I don't know who that is." So there's theories that they're Skrulls, because there is that weird line of like, "My mother will appreciate your loyalty," and she's like, "You're not the only one we're loyal to."
Yeah.
And so that's like a very odd conversation. So I think it will come back later, but right now for this show, it makes it's not important for this show.
Yes. At least not for the way they built it up.
Yeah, agreed.
So it'll be interesting. But so now the question then becomes, who is Pietro?
Yeah. So what the fuck? Like what? I love Pietro in this show. Like just when he comes in and everyone's like multiverse to the next episode where it's like maybe he's not either. Like, and now in this episode you're like, is he just being controlled with his face, or is he like Mephisto or whatever? Like I don't
Yeah.
know what's going.
Yeah, because like he just showed up at the very end. Nosy, huh? And like
Yeah, Snoop's gonna snoop. I was like, what kind of a line is that? That's your one line, is Snooper's gonna snoop.
Man, I hope he ad-libbed that line. I hope the actor was like, I got this.
It was so like bizarre. I just felt like it wasn't. It seems like someone's puppeteering him. Like
Mhm.
it doesn't feel like his dialogue is his own.
And that could be a couple things. That could be like it because again, Agatha has a son who's a witch. or powerful with, but that wouldn't necessarily need her to like control him. We saw the scene where she was doing that.
Yeah.
Apparently she has a familiar. So like, is this supposed to be a familiar that she put in human form just to like fuck with things? Like,
Mhm.
if it's neither of those, then who is this person that she recognized as Pietro, despite not being Pietro, and has powers?
Mhm. Mhm.
Like, it
Can
can't
he
just
be
be
Oh.
sorry, it can't just be
Oh
like a
wait, did I
random
supposed to
townsperson that she just like pretend to be Pietro. You have powers. Like,
Mhm.
You are now super speed.
Well, that's what I'm wondering is like, can you rewrite? I mean, you can they're literally rewriting molecules. So, can she rewrite powers like into the person, even if it's
I don't think she's that
'cause
powerful. I don't think
technically,
Agatha.
especially. Oh yeah. But if you think it's the familiar that she made in human form, bunnies are very fast.
True.
I'm just saying. Like maybe it is the bunny then, and like,
Is the
but
bunny
you're
the
just
same color as
rewriting
his
the
hair?
effect.
Is that like an indicator?
No. I don't think so. I think the hair is specifically to fool us
Yeah.
mentally.
I was like, because that was an honest question, because like that's not how my memory works. I'm like, I don't know.
No,
If they
yeah. I was like, I mean, I guess you could make that argument, but the bunny has like spots on it, so I feel like
Yeah.
it wouldn't.
Also, the bunny was in the cage and Pietro was outside.
Well, so that's another theory is that she turned the boys into a bunny and the fly.
Oh, but then where's the
So
other bunny? So then there's the other bunny Pietro.
she was holding a bunny at the end, and I don't know if that's if we're going with the theory that she turned the kids into a bunny and a fly. I don't know if she's holding the kid or if she's holding her familiar.
Yeah.
But she's definitely holding a bunny at the end. But then we have the whole credits, and then Pietro's outside. So we never see two bunnies together. It could be that she turned him, she's holding the kid and the bunny Pietro
Yeah.
is outside.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know. It was just really weird close-ups on the bunny and the fly. I thought that was such weird filmmaking.
I don't think it was a fly. I thought it was a cicada.
Whatever. It was the biggest thing I've ever seen, and I went, "That's disgusting. Do not put a close-up on that thing."
Yeah,
Like,
I
it was like a dot on that. Well, we don't have cicadas, so I don't know what they look like.
It's just the MCU version of your massive wasp that lives outside your apartment.
Oh my god, that thing was so scary.
Come on, camera. Oh, there's a ring light. It's not gonna work.
I was gonna say the ring light's gonna.
Oh, there you go.
Oh yeah, for sure. So, well, online they're calling it a fly, but I think it's definitely a cicada. But
Yeah.
like, regardless, rules still stand that there's a theory that she turned it into the one kid's a bunny and one kid's a cicada.
Yeah.
Which makes sense to turn the speedster kid into a bunny, but
Mhm.
turning the psychic witch kid into a cicada doesn't really mean anything.
That was, I thought, was like the weird part. I was like, is there meaning behind that because he's fast, he's a bunny, or is it just this is just what I thought of, and one of them's in a cage, one of them's on the curtain? Like that seems so reckless.
Okay, but now the next question becomes: did she turn the kids into those animals, or did she temporarily turn those animals into the kids?
Yeah. So did she create the kids, or did Wanda create the kids?
Yeah.
Because they seem independent of both of them. Like Wanda can't control them with her powers, so that has like a pro that it was Agatha. But then Agatha doesn't seem to have control over them in this episode, which makes it think it's Wanda. Because she's like, "Oh, let's go to my house," kind of thing, and they're like, "But mom, like you need help." Kind of thing, and she's like, "Just go,"
Yeah.
kind of thing. Like that and then with him saying, "I like being around you, you're empty inside," meaning I'm assuming that means I can't read your mind. And she could be playing the role of like, that was weird, because then that scene can be read both ways.
Yeah.
But like now, like watching it back, that scene reads like, oh, these kids are getting out of control. I need to handle this.
Mm-hmm.
So that I don't know.
Yeah.
And if Agatha did create them, they could not be, they may not be real, kind of thing, in the sense that they're like, they don't have a soul, they're not real, kind of thing, and then she just like evaporates them. Like you have your role, and we're just not gonna see them anymore. And then when Wanda finds out, she's like, oh man. Like, who knows what will happen if she finds out that her kid.
Yeah, at the moment, I think the kids are my biggest problem with this show because, like, they're clearly not Vision's kids. Like,
What do you
they've
mean?
grown. He's a robot. He has no biological information to provide. Literally none.
I'm pretty sure you can have binary semen.
Okay, what you and Mike do, I don't.
Yeah, I think-
really just want to say that for your reactions, and that was perfect. Both of you just being like, "What?" No, I get what you're saying. I know. I don't know, because like in the comics, allegedly it's
Mephisto.
or in like the couple versions that they've done it, like one of them was Mephisto, and it's like he gave a part of his soul to
Yeah.
like birth the kids. So they're like real, but then they're not real, you know. So is this, like that, but Agatha's doing it, or is Mephisto yet to come out? I feel like it's too late to have another antagonist.
Yeah.
Do you think they'll like reveal like there's a third party?
Well, I mean, maybe besides just the General and Agatha, they might.
Because like a lot of people are like, okay, Mephisto's next, and I feel like there is something else going on. Because for instance, Agatha came late,
Yeah.
But I feel like it's too late to reveal someone that you haven't dropped breadcrumbs for yet.
But they could have.
I mean, maybe this is just like everyone was doing battle royales for a while. This is just Marvel's battle royale. They're gonna have like 100
They just
different.
like reveal 5 people in the last 2 episodes.
There's like 100 like protagonists / antagonists, and then
Yeah.
last one standing victory royale.
I mean, it
It's
makes
gonna
sense
be
with
fun.
Hex. That's the part you never see in the Battle Royale is when they expand the death field. And now it's been
They make
expanded.
the arena bigger.
So now the next episode it's going to slowly shrink. And there's
Oh
going to
my
be trying to
God.
find where the center's going to be.
I didn't even think about that. That's
Someone's
so
gonna be looking
funny.
at a map, and there's like a slightly smaller green hex inside the hex, and everyone's running at it. Like, what the fuck is happening?
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
We've solved it. We know how it's going to end. You heard it here first, folks. Battle Royale. WandaVision.
So, okay, hold on. So if Wanda is giving Vision essentially a subsequent Mind Stone, and therefore giving him his soul, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
could she just not do that for the kids? Like maybe she doesn't need someone else.
I mean-
I would say because her powers come from the Mind Stone, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
So like potentially because like the stones come from somewhere,
right.
so like they exist like in a thing. Maybe like her link to it lets her like approximate it to like a limited degree.
Yeah.
But like I feel like she probably can't just like create people, like thinking,
Yeah.
feeling people.
Well, what's interesting is that. Well, you didn't say create life. I was gonna say like the interesting thing is that episode when they were born, she kept creating life. Like she created the butterflies, like they were just like the hanging thing, and then she created butterflies and she flew them out the window. And then she accidentally created the stork to life from the wall. Like all of her powers and like what she kept like misfiring, it was creating life, which I thought was interesting. And then of course she has the kids.
Which I find so because like she has the kids for like 3 days, right? Like how many episodes? Because they've like grown up super quick, so they
Yeah.
look like 13, 14.
Yeah, it's
But-
like 3 days.
But it's like 3 days. But like she has this like real attachment to them, which I mean, obviously you're attached to kids, but if you have kids for 3 days and they accelerated growth, and you already know that you're in like a place that nothing makes sense.
Yeah, I
Like,
love when
I'm-
she's like, life is meaningless.
I'm a bit like I don't really know what their place in it is.
right.
I mean, they kind of came about when Vision was being a bit like things are iffy,
Yeah.
and like obviously there's that whole like kind of the trope of like, oh, things are getting rocky, like need a dog or a kid. So like
Mhm.
it might have just been a reaction to that, but I feel like it's like a really big plot leap. To just be
Yeah, like that's why the kids right now are my biggest problem with the show. Like, what are you doing with them? Like how? What's your direction? How? Like,
I feel like so much of this show is putting you in the position of Wanda.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, if you play on the meta of Quicksilver, like when he was brought back and it wasn't Aaron Taylor Johnson, like I felt so in tune with Wanda because I was like, but that's not the one that I was thinking. Like, that's not the one that I wanted. And I know other people feel differently, but like, that's not her brother. And you know it's not her brother. And so you're like more in tune with how Wanda feels in that moment.
Yeah.
And it could be the same with these kids. Like, if all of a sudden they're just gone after they've literally done an episode where they're the point of view of the show, like with Malcolm in the Middle, like they're the point of view, you're in tune with how they're feeling and thinking. If they just take them away, you're so in tune with Wanda to be like, but I was getting to know them. Like, I thought they were going to be characters.
Yeah.
You know? So I wonder if it's just, that, or if they do have plans to, do Young Avengers or something, and they're going to be in that.
I think
Yeah.
the whole thing's baffling. I mean, they've done a really good job of that. Like, I mean, every
I
time we've
know.
sat and discussed it, like we're on our toes. Like every time, I'm like, I don't know. Here's some theory
Mhm.
crafting because we have no fucking idea. Like it's
Yeah.
just
And
It's
there's
so
also
fun.
there's the idea of certain things aren't actually happening. And what I mean by that, so this episode, it was the
Modern
fa-
Family.
what's the show?
Modern Family.
Modern Family. Thank you. It was the Modern Family version. So talking to the camera, stuff like that. But those scenes didn't actually happen. And what I mean by that
Yeah.
is like Vision, for example. Darcy's
Mhm.
nowhere to be seen, but they're doing it in front of the vehicle that they're in. And when he has the epiphany, why am I here? Then he just flies up out of it. Like
Mhm.
those happened at the same moment. So like
Mhm.
those camera scenes are like psychically being done in their head or
Right.
something.
Yeah.
Because Darcy's not they're not actually pull over, get out of the car, set up, and him going, "What am I doing?" And then pack up the chair, get back in the vehicle, and then fly away. Like none of that does.
Right.
Like logistically, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And also like Agatha's like behind the scenes with the camera, like Wanda would have seen that.
Mhm.
So like these are a visual representation of like what is psychically happening or some other representation. It's not like a real world aspect.
Which is funny because that's exactly how Modern Family rolls too.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make sense. There's literally no reason for them to be like documentary style watched.
Yeah.
yeah. It's not like it's not like they do
only
it.
to get their point of view.
Yeah, it's not like it's like after the fact and they're revisiting it. Like it's literally
Right.
like time freezes. They do the bit and then it like
Yeah.
resumes. Like,
Yeah.
it's based on it being like in that moment.
Where like The Office, it makes sense that a documentary crew would be filming them, even if they don't ever mention that they're being filmed until like the very end. Like, that's what I'm talking about. But
Mhm.
like, like when The Office started that, there wasn't a whole lot of like, well, why are they doing, because you go, well, okay, whatever. It's like this the idea that they're being done, but there's no reason to like film a family that literally has nothing interesting about them,
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. And like, and so it's just kind of funny that they utilize that. And so we didn't even question it. But now that Agatha's controlling it, you're like, okay, that actually makes sense because it's like not happening. Like,
Yeah.
it's just in their mind.
So it's
Because when Wanda's doing the bit where she's to camera and then they ask the question from behind, that wasn't Agatha's voice, was it? But then
No.
later on, it was Agatha that was behind the
Correct.
like the light.
and that's also why she's
Yeah.
like, who said you're not supposed to talk? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, you're not supposed to ask questions. But then like later when
Yeah.
they revisit, like her looking confused about the question is Agatha sat there, but it wasn't Agatha's voice when the
Yeah.
question was asked.
It's funny. I went back and it definitely sounds like a man's voice, but I think if I listen to it more clearly, it might be Agatha. Like, it might be that actress with like a voice filter on or something.
I mean, it could have just been they did a guy, and if it's all psychically happening, like she could be there
Then
and
they
just
can
like
just change it.
question, like,
Yeah.
Well, this
I
is
just
it,
think
'cause
it would
it's-
be interesting if they took the extra mile to be like, no, you say the line and we'll just like filter it so that way it's literally unrecognizable. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they do so much stuff of like because like we said before, like the stuff that we're seeing is edited. Like it's it's not exactly what's happening, and it's not exactly what's broadcast. It's something other.
Yeah.
Like it's like a separate thing all of itself. So
It's so
Who knows?
much fun. What does it
Try-
mean?
trying to find any consistency in any of it is just like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's so much fun.
We
I
have
love
3
it.
episodes left.
2.
2.
With
Do-
a rumored third, but I don't think so.
So I was actually annoyed that they had the credit scene. Only because 6-episode no credit scenes during your
Mhm.
20-minute credits, and then on episode
Mhm.
7 you sneak one in there.
Yeah, we
What's
always
wrong
scroll.
with that?
We always like,
just
you know, when you
annoys
like
me.
scrub.
You
like, if
set up
just
the
hover mouse
I think
expectation.
over it,
we're
you
going with
can
the
see.
times, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just
Calm down.
no.
It's just a show. How dare they do this stylistic in their own right?
I like how you're like, it's just a show. We've bitched about plenty of other things about this show already this podcast. Like the whole thing with the space rover. We bitched about that as a group for like 10 minutes.
Oh yeah, no,
I
that didn't
bitch
make
about
any sense,
one
though.
thing and you're like, it's just a show. Who cares?
Well, because within the rules of the show, it doesn't make sense. I think this mid-credits thing makes sense within the rules of the show. I think people were just upset because they don't want to listen to good music and great graphics.
What?
I just wish, because this week was another episode where I was like, oh, it's 6 minutes long. And then I looked
Mhm.
at the time and went, oh, it was actually like way longer, but the
Yeah.
whole fucking time I was like engrossed.
Yeah, this episode felt really, really short.
I know.
Like when all of a sudden the credits rolled, I was like, wait, what time is it? Like how long is it?
I
now?
still feel like the one before was like, I could have sworn that episode was 20 minutes, and like when it was actually like 39, I was like, get out of here.
Yeah.
And I think it's because it ends so abruptly. Like this one, it definitely leads you up to the end because
Yeah.
she's going through the, you know, the basement and then going through that tunnel, and you're like, what weird shit is this?
Yeah,
Where's
I
all
was
these
like-
vines coming from?
I was like, she's got some like decent basement going on here. She's like, the whole neighborhood is just like,
Yeah,
And
that's
there's
what.
like weird symbols, and it does a close up on a book, and I don't know what the hell that is. I was like, what are you telling me? It was
That's her
like
spell book.
The cicada.
But see, that's what happens when you live in the Northeast U.S. You get some pretty big basements.
It's true.
what one of you do in the whole neighborhood. One of you just has like acres of basement.
You all share the basement.
Yeah. And like, oh man,
Like that.
so fun.
That's one thing I miss about living in the Northeast are basements.
We don't get them in England.
Yeah, we don't
No
have 'em here.
basements.
Well, you guys.
Oh,
Well, does the like even the most northern part of England get basements at all? Because I mean, it
not really. It's to do with our water planes. The water planes in England are very high because we're an island.
Mhm.
So if you want to build a basement, you have to like waterproof the shit out of it, and it's just not cost effective. Is how
see-
it's been explained to me.
see, we build. So ours is in the Northeast for us has less to do with water lines. It's just where the freezing point of the land is. And you want to build below the freeze point. So we in the Northeast where it gets much colder and you get like negative 20 degrees, you build basements for the foundation to be below the freezing point. And when you get to like California or the South, like the freezing, that doesn't happen. So you just build like a 1 foot thick, cement floor and then just build on top of that.
Yeah, I think that's like how all our houses are.
That's why in the
I've
Northeast of the
never
U.S.
been
there's a
out of a
lot of
basement.
basements. Which again,
Well,
this is
I thought you built basements as a emergency thing to like to guard against like weather and natural disasters and stuff.
you had to build the foundation low enough to build below the freeze point. And if you're already building a foundation 6 feet down, you might as well make space there.
Oh.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, I just thought it was like for tornadoes and stuff.
I mean, you don't really get those in the Northeast.
Oh.
And the entire time I lived in New York, there was maybe like in 30 years, there's like maybe 3 tornadoes that touched down, and it was more of like, did it? Like it just like it was just like, oh yeah, it touched down. How much damage did it
Yeah.
do? I think it knocked a tree over. Like now in the Midwest and stuff like that, they'll have storm shelters. That they specifically built storm shelters, and yes, that is why they have them. But
yeah.
We just don't
okay,
have
my bad.
storms.
just a constant drizzle 24/7.
Yeah. Hence the high water planes. It's just always raining.
Yeah.
man. All right, so that was a good hour of WandaVision. Before we go, does anyone have anything they want to talk about that occurred these past week or two?
I mean, did you
newsworthy,
want to do
personal
Nintendo
worthy.
Direct or?
No, we can. I'm just talking in general. Like, is there any either personal stories, news stories, anything funner you guys want to talk about?
I beat Final Fantasy VI.
Nice.
So next Final Fantasy game. I started this. I checked it the other day. I started this at the end of August. So it's been like 6 months. I've done 6 games. It's not bad going for 2 streams a week.
No, it's pretty good.
That's
So-
really quick.
So next is Final Fantasy Tactics. So I'm keeping going.
Well,
This is the first spin-off.
I don't want to like rain on your parade, but as the get later in the series and technology gets better, the average gameplay also gets significantly longer.
Weird enough, not so much. I don't know whether it's just because they're Japanese RPGs, but like Final Fantasy 1 was very short. Final Fantasy 1 was about 20 hours long. But if you go on like how long to beat is a website that I use when I'm gonna stream a game, just to see like roughly how long it'll be. Like from Final Fantasy 2 onwards, like everything goes to about 35 hours, which like most of them are. I know if you go and do all the side stuff and like they can run
Yeah.
100 hours, but if you just do the story, most Final Fantasy games are about 30 to 40.
Okay.
So it's not going to get. It's just how distracted I get because I mean all
Yeah,
of
I was
the.
gonna say, I bet the newer ones have more stuff to do.
Yeah, that's true. But I still thought the
yeah,
average time
definitely.
for even just story wise was more like 50 or so versus 30, which it's not. It's almost
Yeah,
double.
I
It's just
mean-
significant. Like,
I mean, potentially, but I mean, I'm into the. So once I start from like 7 onwards, these are all games I've played before.
no, so
So
that'll
potentially
help.
I'll shave some time off of it because
Yeah.
the ones before have been like I'd not even seen them, let alone played them. Like I was going in like blind to all of them. So I'm just like, I mean, I did most of the side stuff from because like 2 didn't have much side stuff. 3 had like was when they started doing like optional dungeons and going and getting like extra summons and stuff. But I've done like most of that stuff with like with 6, I kind of accidentally I was like, right, we're gonna finish the game, and everyone was like, oh, you might want to go do this one thing first. And then when I was there, I went here, and then did it. Like, I ended up kind of doing everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Tactics, I don't know how long Tactics is, but that was like the first one released on PlayStation was Final Fantasy Tactics. I think it came out before 7 anyway.
Yeah, they're both the same year. It's like months apart. They're both like
Yeah.
94, 93, something like that.
97.
97.
So Tactics was in June, and then Final Fantasy 7 came out in January. So
Oh,
7
okay.
was the first, but
Okay. I knew they were like the same year. I just never remember which one was the first one. But I'm a big fan of Tactics. I really like Tactics. Tactics has the problem of that like the first like 4 hours is very samey and like in the sense that like all of the characters are pretty much the same because you're doing all these base classes. They have small variants and stuff like that, but your options are very narrow in all the classes, so it feels like you're playing a group of like 8 nearly identical people. But then it starts to split off drastically quickly. When you have the class that's like a calculator and like you do stuff based on like multiples of numbers, you're like, okay, I want to hit everyone with an experience multiplier of 7 with this spell. That only hits 2 people. What about a coin multiplier of 3? Oh, that hits 4 people, but 2 of those are mine. All right, what about a level like you get really interesting class and you keep like eventually the game gives you a lot of options once you get into late game when you're picking these different classes and you're trying to do all this stuff. But the beginning is very, well, I'm going to walk over there and stab this guy. Well, this person's also going to walk over there and stab this guy. This person's he's going to walk over there and stab that guy. Like, the beginning part can feel very limited, but like late game, it's super, super in depth.
yeah,
So-
I played the first advanced one.
Is that the
Which,
one with
like, I
laws?
really enjoyed it, but yeah, with
I
the
hated
judges
that.
and like, I really liked the law system because otherwise I was just going to use the same shit every fight. Otherwise, and if it's like, oh, can't target areas, and you're like, well, I can't take mages, so I got to take this guy, this guy, this guy, and then like this dude can be my damage now, and how am I going to heal?
I literally got into a nearly impossible fight that was a plot mandatory fight because it was like a level 5 law or whatever. So anytime anyone broke it, they were immediately like removed from the fight or something like that. I forget the exact mechanics. But
Yeah,
like
you
it
go
was
to
something
jail.
like no no attacking animals, and I have like 7 animals I had to kill, and I was like, and it took me like 3 hours to get past that fight because I had to keep doing the fight over and over and hoping to get criticals and certain things and trying to like move my party around and to, like get them group up so I can have one person get arrested doing an area like it was miserable. Like I did like, and it was that one instant. But it's that time when you play a game when you have that one thing that was such a large detractor, just changed the whole thing. Like that was a
Mhm.
mandatory thing I couldn't get around, and it immediately made
Sounds
me
like
hate.
your Ori playthrough, Elliot.
I nearly had that with Final Fantasy VI. There's like a tower where the whole point of it is like you can't attack, you can only do magic, you can't use your skills. You can use items, I suppose, but like you can only do magic. That's the only
Mhm.
attacks you're allowed to make. And it's got like one of the best magic relics in the game, and like it gives you access to like a load of shit. And I got all the way up, I got to the boss, found out that I basically the boss like automatically before it dies casts Ultima that does like 5,000 damage to everyone. I was like, well, there's a spell called Re-Raise that you can like late in late games they call it Auto Life, which if
Mhm.
you die you just come back. So I was like, well, I need to grind that out because I don't have it on any characters. In the end, I just got one character and gave him like every HP item. And I like switched all his equipment around and like gave him relics for HP and stuff. He ended up with like 7,000 health, which was fucking ridiculous for where I was. So all I did was just be like, right, give him all the magic defense, all the magic evasion, all the health. And I was like, I just need to keep him at full health. So at the end of the fight, everyone dies and he'll just be there like, come at me, bitch. And I did it that way. And then getting back down the tower, I got so fucking angry. Like I was literally sat there just like I was like, I've enjoyed all this game and I have one thing left to do, and this is the second last thing I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I spent the whole way down just being like, this is shit. And I because you can only use magic, but there's enemies that spawn in with reflect, and they have reflect always, and you can't take it off. So you have to use AoE spells, or you have to cast reflect on yourself and then cast it across. And I was just like, this is bullshit. I'm fucking mad. I'm done with it. I don't want. And I was just like, I can't believe this is gonna ruin this whole game.
Yeah. So yeah, that was me for Tactics Advance. I had that scenario, and it just was miserable. Like, I enjoyed the game. The laws were sometimes fun, sometimes annoying, but that one fight that just took me so, and like this was in college.
Well,
and
they're
my
like
my friend at the
procedurally
time was
generated,
also
like
playing Tactics Advance and didn't get that kind of encounter, and was helping me try to do that fight. Like me and my friend in my dorm room, like okay, we powwowed how to get me through that fight. It was
Oh my goodness.
I was mad. What about you,
That
Platt?
sounds bad.
Anything fun, exciting, personal wise or gaming wise this past week or two?
I got my 57th platinum,
Ooh,
and now I'm
congratulations.
working on my 58th.
Are you gonna plan a party for like the 60th? Is there like a milestone party you got planned or anything?
That was the
69.
50th. Yeah.
You gotta do 69, right? And
Yeah.
then
50th
420.
was a party because I
Nothing
wanted to.
between the 69th and the 420th.
I'm sorry, there's no good numbers between 69 and 420.
100?
100, I suppose.
150? I mean,
I
So-
almost launched my PlayStation the other day and was just like, I'm gonna pick a game on the PlayStation, I'm gonna plat it. And then I did what I always do with my PlayStation, and I scrolled through my library for 25 minutes, and then I launched a game on Steam. It's exactly.
In my entire gaming career, I've never gone to a single game went, I'm gonna get the platinum in this. Like it's not my brain. It's not wired that way. So like
Yeah.
the dedication you have, like I have so much respect for that because I just can't. I'm just like, and you're like, all right, I got to do like every little thing in this game, and like I've seen you have like
Yeah.
things planned out, and like okay, I got to go do this next. And I'm like, man, I cannot. Like I just don't have the.
Yeah. I don't know. I find it really fun.
I mean,
this is-
awesome. Like that's good. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not.
I don't get it either, to be honest. I think it's because subconsciously, like, getting awards
Yeah.
is really nice. I'm like, well, shoot,
Goal
I'm
oriented.
significant. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the only reason I did it with Spider-Man is because I love collectibles in games anyway. So I went and got all the
Right.
collectibles, and then by the time I finished the story, I was like, oh, I need like to do two things. Like I literally like because to get all the costumes and stuff, you have to like full level all of the challenges and stuff like that. So I was like, all I really need to do is like do this like one thing, and I'll just get
Yeah.
the last trophy. So I was like, fine,
Yeah.
like, I'll go do it anyway.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But
Miles
there's no
Morales
other game where
also
I've
has
been
the
close.
platinum. If you want to get your second one.
I would get like, I mean,
It's a shorter game, but it does require 2 playthroughs.
I've taken like on such a large challenge of I'm gonna play every final. I dropped in someone's stream the other day and they were just like it was the classic like, oh yeah, Blind Streets, and he went, actually at the moment he's doing every Final Fantasy game, so definitely go watch. And I was like, it's become like noteworthy when I see people
Right?
on Twitch.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, he's playing every game and the spin-offs because he's an idiot. So probably reward that in some way.
But that's
I
what
always
happened.
find it-
That is one
Yeah.
of the best ways to, like, if your goal is to build yourself on Twitch, like specifically, like that is the primary goal, and like other things are secondary. That is one of the best things to do, is do a thing consistently and be known for that, because that'll draw people and it'll make it noteworthy commentating. As opposed to like, if your primary goal is to have fun and then subsequently you do other things, like you can be successful that way, but like if you can be hyper focused and draw attention that way and then broaden out from there once you have the base, that tends to be the way to go.
That's what the marketer was trying to convey when he said don't market yourself as a variety streamer, because that tells nothing to marketers.
Yeah.
They're like, find a common theme of why you play particular games and then market yourself on that. Because if you just say I'm a variety streamer, that tells me nothing.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he was talking about. And people took it as like a bad thing. They were like,
Yeah, they're like,
how
"Oh,
dare you?
variety
No, I am a
streamers."
variety streamer. I play such and such game. And it's like, okay, but then you're not going to get sponsors because they don't know how to, you don't have any kind of niche, or like you don't have like one thing that you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean I've talked to people about that, and like it never bothered me. Like that's me. Like I tell people I'm a variety streamer. Like, what you think? It's like I just play whatever I want. And like, but
Right.
I know the perceived detriment, that kind of thing. Like I'm well aware of that, and I'm okay with that. Like I don't.
Mhm.
That's fine by me. But like I've told people, it's like no. Like you can be successful as a variety streamer, but you are not successful because you're a variety streamer.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like those are two separate ideas. They sound similar in a sentence, but they're not the same thing. You are a successful personality. You are a highly engaging person. You are a funny. You are one of these things.
Mhm.
Who streams a variety
plays
games?
a lot of games.
Like
Plus,
that is.
I would argue, like, okay, a true variety streamer is you play horror games, you play JRPGs, you play puzzle games, you play Sudoku, you play like literally like every genre. You play visual novels, you play action adventure, you play linear, you play open world, you play multiplayer, you play all these games for real, every single one of them. Like, I bet there is something that like you put, like, I play different types of games, but all of them pretty much have something in common.
Yeah.
You know, kind of thing,
So-
and it's finding that.
So I've there's a guy Virtue who I know, and he, whilst he's streaming his game, he then has like a vote that goes on in Discord. So he's
Mhm.
like true variety, because he's like, I play whatever Discord votes for.
Right.
Yeah.
And it
And
could
he
be
ends up playing like such
anything.
weird titles where it's just
Yeah.
like, I think he'll have like a
Indie
list or
games,
something, and
AAA
it's like,
games, like,
Yeah.
yeah, like it's just what games do you want added to the list, or
Mhm.
from the list, what game do you want? And it's like,
And at that point,
it's
his
based on
stick is
Discord
he's a
react.
community-oriented gamer. He's not a
Ooh,
variety
can't be
game.
saying that.
Can't say
I-
that.
I mean, well, no, there's the whole thing of like, oh, like I think it was probably like the same time as the variety thing was going on, like people being like, also don't describe yourself as like community focused. We're all community focused. It's
No.
live streaming. Like,
Yeah.
none of us are sat
Oh.
there being like, I don't give a fuck about people. Like, yeah, of course we want people there.
That's funny.
I hate all of
Yeah.
you. Where are my video games?
Oh, by the way, Wolves, I think you still have the WandaVision thing up.
No, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, we might just spin back around and just suddenly like.
I mean,
spoilers.
I was gonna bring it up, but I don't.
Oh.
But yeah, no, I always found that like interesting because people took that so negatively, and I was like, we're not harping on variety streamers. We're just saying, like, you know, like Wolf said, like, you have to know the consequences then that
Yeah.
you're probably not going to get sponsored, and people they aren't getting the details that they want from you.
Yeah.
You know, kind of thing.
I
Because it's
mean-
like, I'm a variety streamer. Okay. What
Yeah,
games
like-
do you play?
Like if you're a company and you're doing that 5-minute pitch, you're not gonna be like, we're a large building that sells things. Come here. Like,
Yeah,
There's,
we
that's
sell
everywhere.
a variety
Have you
of
ever wanted to
products.
buy a thing? We
Yeah.
sell some stuff. Like, okay.
Yeah, you need to you have to change your wording to appeal to people. You can still be that thing, but you describe it in a different way.
Yeah.
I feel like any advice with streaming is like so weird though, because
It
there
is
is the
weird.
angle of like not the same thing works for everyone. Like some people just come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But then like a lot of the time, if you give advice like with that or like the one I always say to people is like you need to have a schedule. If you want to grow on Twitch and you want to like have people come back every time and keep your averages up, have a schedule. You don't want to be going live and then people petering in over time. You want everyone to be like, oh, it's 6 o'clock on a Wednesday. Black's
Yeah,
gonna
get
be
a-
live. Like,
Yeah.
like you need that. But then even then, just that small amount, like it's not even really advice. It's like if you want to do this, you need to do this. And you still get people being like, well, I can't have a schedule because my job or childcare or and I like I've seen this a lot because I'm like
Okay.
a mod in the stream
Yeah.
community.
Then don't
I'm just
expect
like-
to grow.
Yeah, like well that's fine. Don't stream the schedule then. But then those same people to be like, I've been streaming for 6 months and I still have an average of 2 viewers. It's like, well, yeah, you don't stream in the schedule. You pick what game you want to play on the day, and no one knows what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah.
Do you interrupt people?
That's
on Twitter?
literally
Do you
me, but
post
but
schedules?
that's the
And they're
thing. Like I
"No."
know this. Like I
Right.
know that about me.
We
I
know
know that
this.
about what I do. Like I don't. Like I'm not self. I'm self. What's the word? Self-aware. There's the word.
Self-aware.
Yeah.
I'm self-aware about that about me. Like I said, I know
Yeah.
I know what I do isn't the metrics to succeed in those aspects, and I'm fine with that. But like
Right.
it's when people want to succeed and they're not aware of those metrics. It's like we're not saying you're bad. We're saying
Right.
these are the common things that lead to success. They're not
Right.
the required, they're
Right.
the common.
Right. Because I love when people go, well, this person's big and they don't have a schedule. I'm like,
Well, yeah, fine.
listen, there's an exception to every rule,
Yeah.
okay? And it's not you.
Yeah. If it was you, we wouldn't be having this fucking conversation.
Well,
And
like
it's
one of my
not me either, because I'm not a successful streamer.
like one of my favorite examples is Moon Moon. Like his name was literally Moon Moon OW. Like Moon Moon
Yeah.
Overwatch. He streamed Overwatch nonstop for like 2.5, like 3 years. And
Mhm.
like now he just kind of does whatever he wants. He's very community, like very stream interactive. He does games where he talks to streamers, something like that. But like he gets like
Yeah.
10,000 viewers. He just does whatever he wants now. But like he
Mhm.
did that thing, built up, and then he had the people like who were coming in for the game, and eventually they started coming in for him. And now he just
Right.
does what he wants because they're there for him and his content.
Right.
So it's like you do the thing that like you do X, Y happens, and eventually you can change X and Y will still occur. Like
Yeah. I always say that. Like, people will come in for the game, but they'll stay for you.
Mhm.
Like, I always say that to people. Like, if they ask me anything.
It's absolutely my favorite compliment to get off a viewer. Like I've got a regular Calypsy who was in the other day, and she was like, "I fucking hate Final Fantasy. I'm just here to chat to you and play Stream Raiders."
Oh, 100%.
And I was just like, "That's like the nicest thing you can say." Because
I
like one day I could just
know.
be like, "Fuck it, we're not playing a game. We're just chatting. Balls to it."
yeah.
Like,
And
"All right,
they'll
sweet."
they'll still turn up. They're like,
Then
"Okay,
you
hi."
actually read my comment in a timely fashion.
Why would you attack me like this?
It's not even you. There's oh my gosh, Sneaky's the worst. He knows he's the worst. So he'll like I'll like type and like 5-10 minutes later he'll respond. Like you don't go in Sneaky's stream to be responded to right away. That is not the case. It's so funny.
There's a few communities I know where like the streamer will be so in depth in the game
Yeah.
and not respond to anything, and chat are talking to each other. That's
Yeah.
when you know it's got silly. Is they just having like their own little thing, and then like if they're playing like Dark Souls and they beat a boss and look at chat, it's like, what the hell are you guys talking about? It's like you are aware
I
you're
know,
part
it's like
of
you're
this.
not even in this conversation. You're just hosting this conversation.
I mean, there are sometimes that's unavoidable. Like I said, if you're in a Dark Souls fight and like you're not dying, but you're like barely surviving
Right.
for like 10 minutes, like you're not looking over here. You're just like, I was
Yeah,
like,
you're
oh my god,
absolutely-
what have I
Well, and
missed?
that's the thing is like he plays Rocket League, which I find very hard to task, and he'll play like fighting games.
Yeah.
And it's like you're not gonna look at chat when you need to have frame perfect combos. Like
Yeah.
so it's all very reasonable. It's just funny because you do have to go with that in mind of like, I'm gonna put this, and I always do it when it's like I'll type something and then I'll be like, oh, neat. I could probably get it and come back before it responds.
My favorite people like that is like you type a message and I'm like, wait, is there enough context in the message so that in 10 minutes when they see it, they're not going to be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I know exactly. That's literally.
That was a really good
how I
move. And then they
tried.
see it 5 minutes later and they're like, wait, which one?
Or
I
it's
tried
like,
differently
no,
in
it's to
people's
your
chat.
left. 5 minutes later, what's to my left? What am I looking for? What did I
You're
say?
like, never mind. Never
One of
mind.
one of the rooms in Final Fantasy VI has a secret switch in it. Someone's trying to guide me. And me being me, I'm not going to go stand there and fucking wait. I was like,
You're like, is
they
it
were
over
like,
here?
oh,
Is
yeah,
it over here? Is it over here? Is it
they're
over
like-
here?
bottom left, and I like run through a new room, and then I go, oh, bottom left, and then I fucking run up, and they're like, no, the other room with the beds. It's just like, but like they were literally giving commands like, yeah, no, a little bit more right than that. No, below where you are. And I was like, you need to give me landmarks. You have to be
Yeah.
like room with the beds, by a bookshelf, down 3 squares. Like I need a fucking map.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my gosh, that's so
you can't be
funny.
doing this.
I was really
Oh,
proud when I
man.
helped you solve that one clock puzzle.
Is this a real thing? Or are you making something up?
No, in Final Fantasy, there was like this, like people were saying these things and like they're lying about stuff, and you had to like find the clock time and like you're checking all this
Oh
stuff.
my goodness.
And I was in the stream,
Just-
and like he's taking notes, like I have a notepad. And
I
was
had a
like,
notepad on the screen and I'm like typing. It's okay. The whole so there is a town where it's like no one can be trusted except one guy. So everyone lies. So everything they say, you just do the opposite. And it's a clock puzzle that you have to put the hands of a clock in a place. And it's things like one of the clocks you speak to a guy and he's like, oh, the clock only has a minute hand, but it's always wrong anyway. So it's like, okay, is that an hour hand and it's right then? Or is it like some of it's wrong? And then you go and it's like, oh, the hand's pointing to 6. And I'm like, well, on a clock, 6 is
Oh,
hours, is 6 in hours, but it's 30 in minutes. And I've got this fucking notepad, and at the top it's just everyone lies. It felt like an episode of House.
Except the
And
one
I'm ju-
person, and you don't know when you're talking to the person who says the truth.
No, you do know which one, but he doesn't have any other clock hints. So like,
Oh, I see.
he gives you
But,
the
like, you're
information.
literally-
Everyone here lies, so that's the true. Like okay.
yeah.
Oh, but and you know that's truth.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But yeah, so like,
Oh, how
like
fun.
I'm like writing it all on
Fun
notes and
puzzle.
stuff. And then eventually Gray just pops up in chat and goes, like literally like Rain Man moment with like the maths going around. He's like, wait, if this has to be this, which means this can't be that, and that's the only other thing it could be, someone's that, which means this one's this.
Oh
And it
my
worked. And I was
God.
just like fuck.
Yeah.
It was fun.
I think
I'd gotten to a point where I was just rolling through options. I was going to say to
Oh.
Splat, do you ever do that? But you hate how I solve puzzles.
Yeah, because we were talking about the witness, and you're like, I was just trying every single. I was like, what?
Just,
Yeah, no, I'm with Clyde
just
on that.
iterations.
Like
I
I
am
have
an AI. All I do is
I just didn't
learn.
know that was possible because there's so many there's so many options if you just roll through. Like I couldn't even I feel like it would take longer to just try.
Anything's
things.
possible if you have disposable time.
like I'm not gonna lie, I have brute force puzzles in the past, but like not Witness. Like that, you were playing a puzzle game. You're not playing the game with the occasional puzzle. The game
Right.
is a puzzle. Like literally, the
Yeah.
world you navigate has puzzles
Is
built
a
into the
puzzle.
world. You solve puzzles while walking to puzzles to solve puzzles, which unlock puzzles so you can get to the next puzzle. Like that's just
Yeah, that is the witness. That's actually a really good description.
like I remember when
I
Platt
don't
and I were
remember
both
any
playing
of
it.
that.
And
I
we
just
both
remember
talked
there
about the
being lots of squares.
no, like there was a point
There
where
was a
Platt and
lot
I
of
were both
squares.
playing it, and we
Lit
both
them
reached a
up.
moment where we suddenly realized the world is a puzzle.
Yeah.
Like you're kind of walking and you're like,
Wait
the
a
gap
minute.
of those trees look like a line from the puzzles. And then you move, you're like, and that looks like a. So then you just click on the world in the background. You're like, son of a bitch. like, so then you're
It's true.
backtracking.
It's always you see the circle. Like,
Yeah.
At least me. Like I see the circle, and I'm just like, is that a puzzle?
Yeah.
Like that's
Could
not on
this
a little
be
thing.
Yeah.
puzzle?
The first one, me, it wasn't too far in, but it was like the docks. Where you're like the
Yeah.
water. Like I walked to get a thing, and I was like, I was like, that looks like a starting point. Then you just kind of maneuver around a bit, and all of a sudden, like
Yeah.
you see like a connecting pathway. You're like, no fucking way. You're
And
like,
then you just you're like, do I try it? I
Yeah.
don't want to look like an idiot. And then you try it, and it works. It glows, and you're like, what the fuck?
It's happening.
Mind-boggling. I know. It's
What-
crazy.
two of my favorite puzzles I've ever solved in a game. Both were in Legend of Grimrock 2,
Hmm.
which is an old school like dungeon explorer where like everything's like you turn, you do a 90-degree turn, 90-degree turn,
Mhm.
step forward, stuff like that. Amazing game. I
Yeah.
thoroughly recommend it. You can play Legend of Grimrock 1. It's good, but it's mostly just a good foundation for the amazing Grimrock 2. And they're
Okay.
unrelated plot-wise. Like, they don't have the same stories. Anyway, there's a puzzle where, like, there's a series of, like, teleporters are, like, moving down. And they just teleport you back to where you are. And, like, I'm looking down this pathway, and I'm like, okay, I can't walk down it because it just, like, moves through you and it stops you.
Right.
I was like, okay, so I can't do that. I was like, looks like there's a switch on the end. I was like, do I need to throw something? So I go to my inventory, and there's, like, rocks. I was like, okay, maybe how do I throw something? I was like, ooh, I accidentally threw it. Oh, good, I got it. And then, like, a couple people in my chat were like, it took me 30 minutes to time that throw. And I was like, oh, I got it. Like, I was just trying to figure out how to throw things. I wasn't at
Oh
all
my
concerned about the
gosh.
timing of the teleporter. I was just like, maybe I just, like, is this how I throw things? And, like, solved it. Like,
Oh
And then-
my goodness.
and then later, there's a puzzle that it gives you, like, it's a made-up language. And, like, you're standing on, like, a platform, and everything around you is triggers, and there's a door. And, like, you can read this plaque. And, like, I was like, okay, well, it's clearly a language, and it's clearly giving me directions on how to move. I was like, okay, I can only move 4 directions. So I'm looking for, like, common things that are popping up. I was like, okay, these all look like they're probably directions because there's only 4 varieties I can find. I was like,
Mhm.
but every now and then there's, like, a little thing before some. I was like, okay, that must be a number. So it must be right 3,
Oh,
back
yeah.
2. So, like, I'm, like, literally trying to brute force, but, like, I'm taking notes, I'm guessing, and, like, it took me, like, an hour to solve this. And, like, an hour later in the game, I came across, like, a rubric that gave you some of the hints. I was like, oh, I was supposed to come here and then go solve. No. I'm sitting there with notes. I'm like, okay, that looks like
Oh
it's a
my
modifier.
gosh.
So if that's a modifier, then that's probably a direction. So what is it modifying? Is it tell me a number? Okay, and, like, I literally just, like,
Oh
like,
my gosh.
it's one of my favorite puzzles I ever solved because, like, I just, like, logic the shit out of it. I was like, maybe, like, I was so proud
Yeah.
of myself.
That's good.
But-
That's good.
All right, before we end, did any of you see the Snorlax?
Yes,
Pokemon?
Okay, so you did you watch the video?
I did.
Okay, so quick story, and then I'll show people on stream, or you can go to my Twitter and also find it. So, many years ago, right before I moved to South Carolina from New York, I used to do weekly movie nights with my friends, and we still
Mhm.
do that. I did it over Skype for a while, and now they're here, so we do it in person again. But, like, they also wanted to leave New York and knew some other people in this area, so I was like, you guys should, like, we're moving down, you guys should move down. And somehow in the conversation it came up, like, if they move down and buy a house, I will get you a large Snorlax. Like, I don't remember the context of it, but, like, I made that promise. And I
Mhm.
moved down in 2016. So 5 years later, and I was always like, you guys should move down, you guys should move down. So about a year ago, they moved down. And on Friday, they closed on a house.
Okay.
So I delivered on my promise. So
Okay.
give me 1 second, I'll be right back. Because it's
Okay.
in a different room.
Okay.
Oh, is it in his house?
I guess
Well, yes,
so.
because they were still in the process of packing. So their vehicle was full at the time. So I'm holding on to it until they are fully moved in and
But
ready.
you're gonna deliver it.
Yes. Or they can grab it. It's up to them. It doesn't
Okay.
really matter.
I can't
on-
believe. Listen to the strain in his voice. He's gonna come at me like this big. Yeah,
It's
and he
completely
comes out and it's just like
We're just gonna
no,
get really close to it.
it's a
Oh my
completely
goodness. It's...
normal sized Snorlax that
Oh, I was thinking the wrong Pokemon.
so
What Pokemon were you thinking of? Oh, you don't. You're not gonna
The
know.
fat pink one.
so it stands at about
Pikachu?
6.5 feet tall.
Pikachu is not pink.
Oh,
And
you
it's,
said, for some reason I thought you said yellow.
Oh
Oh,
my
no.
gosh, there's a one too.
so it's about 6.5 feet tall and it has 30 pounds of stuffing in it.
Oh my gosh.
So I
Sounds
uploaded
like,
I
sounds like
took
me
a
on
video
Christmas.
of me like showing it to them. I'm like, I don't
Oh my
remember if you
gosh.
I was like, I don't know
I
if you
would
remember
love
this
that.
promise. And my friend Tommy was like, she was talking about this recently. My friend Dorothy's like, is there a Snorlax? So then, like, she turns the corner, she's like, oh my, like,
She was so pleased.
Aw. Oh, I would
So-
be too. I love big stuffed animals like that, and I love hugs.
it's the size of a bed. It's the size of a full mattress.
I love it.
Like,
I
Again,
remember how much.
I am
In
6
one of the
feet tall, and I know
original
it's sitting
Pokemon
on something, but like, I'm a 6 foot tall individual. Like, it's
Yeah.
massive.
Yeah.
So-
It's like wide too.
Oh yeah.
Any excuse to get a waifu pillow for Gray.
Snorlax is my waifu. So, all right.
What were
So
you
on
gonna
that
say,
note,
Elliot? Sorry. Elliot,
What?
you were gonna say something about Pokemon.
Oh, in the old Pokemon games, the ones on Game Boy Color, there was like an infrared thing that you could like gift things to each other.
Oh,
One of the gifts, because in that was the one you could decorate your room. One of the gifts in that was a giant Snorlax that was
Yep.
in your room,
oh my god.
and I was always like, oh, I'd love to have one day.
Uh-oh.
Turns out you
Blindside.
can get them.
if you move near me and buy a house, I will get you.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, he will deliver on his promise.
I have
You can
proof.
find me. Imagine putting it. That's what I put in for a visa. It's like, well, my friend said he'd get me a giant Snorlax, so
And they come back like, how giant? You're like 6.5 feet tall. Like, well, then approved.
it's in.
That's a valid reason.
Right to work. Yep.
All right, tell everyone who you are, where they can find you. It's also on screen.
Hi, my name is Platinum. I'm on Platinum Trophy Wife on Twitch and YouTube. I be editing my Last of Us playthrough back in May. So
Nice. Blindside.
I'm Blindside UK. I'm on twitch.tv/Blindside UK. I'm also on Twitter at Blindside_UK if you want to just see me post desk weasels at people. Just like 90% of my tweets is just like desk weasel.
It's a good thing to see. I'm Grey Wolves. You can find me at Twitch at right here or on YouTube at Grey_Wolves. I think it's Grey_Wolves at YouTube. I actually don't remember now. That's a bad thing for me not to remember.
Is that your URL?
Yeah.
Or is that just your name?
Are you big enough to have your name?
I was gonna say,
though?
my
It's
YouTube
Yeah,
URL
probably
is like
just random.
No, you can tell it
youtube.com
that, can't you?
You
youtube.com
need to be,
/
well, it depends on how old
YHT.
your account is.
Mm.
Because
Yeah, you
they
have to have
used to
something
give
like-
you the URL, but now you have to be big enough to make your URL.
Is it hours watched or is it subs?
I don't know, actually. I'd have to ask Terry.
I don't know.
I
Let's
don't know.
find out.
Have you seen his recent YouTube stuff?
I have seen his recent YouTube
Ye-
stuff.
All right.
Taking off, baby. He gonna forget all his friends.
Yeah, so Twitch, Grey_Wolves, on Twitter at Wolves1226, and at YouTube at UCNYW7TZD12M0WQGJATJI3NG.
I got it all right here, baby. That's easy.
I was
Boom.
typing as you went. It's
Done.
fine.
All right. Bye, everyone.